Hi everyone, and welcome to Coach's Corner, and we have a special guest with us today. We're going to talk some high school tennis. We haven't had a chance to talk tennis so far this spring, and as luck would have it, tennis season has hit its mid-stride and is now in the last few weeks of competition. But we have Coach Larimer with us today. No, not that Coach Larimer's son, Brad Larimer. I'm sure you get that a little bit once in a while.
You know, Big Daddy, he's awesome. He just, in the tennis world, he's still a big name, and it makes life easy for me and my brother and, being coaches. Of course, I've done it for 26 years now, and Mike's probably done it 15, 20, and so, he actually, you could say he made an easy start for us, for sure, so.
Well, Brad, of course, at Ponca City. Now, Mike, is he still with Claremore?
Right. He coaches the boys and girls there at Claremore. Right.
Yeah. And of course, Big Daddy, we're referring to Steve Larimer. Does Dad still go to some of the matches?
Actually, we've had a few health issues with my son this year, so actually Big Daddy, of course, still has his certificate, so he can still travel with us and stuff. And he actually had taken my boys to a couple, 3 tournaments this year for me while I was trying to get things issues with my son.
Well, that's a nice luxury to have.
Absolutely.
You turn it over to Dad, and that. I've always thought Steve Larimer had. Nobody messes with Steve Larimer. Those kids, they better give him the respect they give any coach around Ponca City.
Big Daddy, he's been around for a long time, and there's grandkids of kids he's had now, and. Actually, I'm getting kids of kids now, but he's well known around the community, and still drives buses, and he's just a good man. So
we get him on basketball trips all the time. I can tell you that. Brad, of course, our boys tennis coach. We might mention that Larry Williams, who is our girls tennis coach, was ill the day of taping, so we'll talk a little about the girls, but we'll try to have Larry on maybe another show. But how's the boys team doing this year, Brad?
We've done well. We had all of our kids back from last year, and so we're, I would say, better than we were last year. Of course, you want to be able to say that. I believe that we'll still qualify everybody for state tournament like we did last year. We've had the regionals picked out, and I believe with the regional that we're in, we will definitely get everybody in. How they're seated and how we do will determine how we want to play.
Now let's talk about the regionals, where they're going to be at, and you have to finish top 4. Is that correct?
Right. We're going to go to Bixby. Top team there is, of course, going to be Jinx, and they've got a good, solid team. Muskogee's going to be there, Bartlesville, and I believe Sand Springs, Sapulpa, and there's a couple I'm probably missing. But our kids have done real well. I can see us being seated at least 3 in most spots. So.
Well, you've brought with you something that I think is, all coaches, I wish I could get them to do this. You brought something that actually has names and records, and I know it's maybe not the most elegant visual way to do these things, but we want to get it right. And you've got some information there, so we might go through your singles and your doubles teams and how they've done this season.
Well, I actually updated this morning, and we had a tournament on Friday down in Moore, which our team won. It wasn't as tough as some of the ones like the Edmond tournament or the Jinx tournament, but there were still 6 other Class 6A teams along with ourselves, plus a private school in Crossings. But our boys end up winning the tournament down there in Moore, and we placed first in both singles and second in both of the doubles. But I updated the records, and our number 1 singles player, Blank Langston, has a 22-12 record, which at number 1 singles, you're playing tough kids every day in, day out. So to have a record like that, is pretty good. Blake, he's a very competitive kid. Has beat some of the better kids, and of course lost to some of them. But to have a 22-12 record's a good record for number 1 singles for what we got in the state right now.
Should get seated at the regional tournament?
Yeah, from what records that I've had, he should be at least 3rd, and then he may get a 2nd seed. It just matters how things turn out. But Blake, he's going to make the state tournament. Like I say, he's a very competitive individual. He's just a sophomore, so and he's just a good kid and a good player. So Two singles, we got Cole Trotter, and his record for the year is 19-9. So he's probably going to get about 3 seed behind Jinx and probably Muskogee, which the same one Blake will get behind probably. In fact, I think in one singles, the Muskogee kid may be better than the Jinx kid even. So, but those are probably the top 3 teams in there, you know, Jinx, Muskogee, and us. Cole was hurt, injured for when I got out there after basketball. He had a wrist problem, and you know, he got off to he was set back about a month or so with a wrist problem, and he kind of roughed it the first couple tournaments, and now he's gotten back to where he's a Cole Trotter of last year. So Cole did a great job last year.
He's a good athlete, isn't he? I mean,
he's done a good job.
Absolutely.
For us. And this would be, you know, he qualifies this year. This will be his third year at 2 singles, which is good. And hopefully this year we can get him to where he'll place. I think he's one of the top 8 players in the state at 2 singles. So, in fact, it's really funny. The kid he played in the finals at Moore, he beat 6-2, 6-0, which he actually lost to the very first match of the year. So you can tell the strides, you know, when he loses to a kid that beats him that bad. So we've got him back. One doubles is Reese Larmer and Russell Scoville. Their record's 21-13. Number 1 doubles is just a tough division. You know, a lot of times, you know, people that don't have great 1 singles players or good 1 singles players, they'll put their best 2 kids in number 1 doubles. So not only do you get the kids that are good number 1 doubles like your Unions and your Jinxes and your Edmund Norris and your Edmund Memorials who have 1 and 2 singles players plus good players that could play those positions playing at 1 doubles. You get the best 2 kids off of some of these other teams that play number 1 doubles.
I got 2 questions, and I'm glad you brought that up because is there a deadline or is there a certain amount of matches that they have to play in order to qualify through the regionals at that particular position, or can a guy play singles all year and play doubles the first time at the regional tournament?
When we walk into the regional tournament, you'll bring in your sheet, and whoever's on the sheet's on the sheet.
So they could play doubles all season and play singles in the regionals, or vice versa.
Absolutely. They could go in with no record. You know, in fact, we had a kid. I can remember back when I was coaching the girls and Big Daddy was still coaching the boys, that a kid had played baseball at Booker T. Washington, and they got beat out of the baseball. Well, he's on the regional list the next week with no record. But this kid we knew was really good because he played summer tennis and was in the USTA. And so you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I wondered, is this something that you would consider as a coach? Maybe not necessarily in this particular situation, but if you had that scenario, or would you rather see your kids do what they've done all season?
I'm pretty old school. I don't, you know, our kids, you can tell by the records, like their record's 21-13. I mean, my kids have played over 30 matches at what position they're going to play at in the region. And that's how I want it. These 2 guys, these 2 individuals have played together for 3 years. And to me, a doubles team is kind of like basketball, football. You know, they play as a team. You know, there's not any individualism to it. You know, they've got to be able to be compatible, got to be able to play together. And sometimes you can just put 2 kids together and they'll do okay. But, you know, sometimes it's like they'll kill each other.
Right. Well, the goal is to give them the best chance you think to advance on.
Absolutely.
And obviously when they play 30-something tennis matches together over a 2-month period, it's your philosophy that that's their best chance to advance on when you get into a playoff situation.
Right. And in this particular year, I've got everybody back, and everybody's played the same positions that they played last year. So these kids have played together, and each one knows their role on the team, and they know what they're doing. So, you know, to me, it makes it a little bit easier for everybody.
That doesn't happen very often, does it?
Right.
Everybody back. Wow.
And in and out, and this, that, and the other. Now, there may be years where you maybe have a couple kids that are really strong, and then the rest of them might struggle a little bit. That, you know, hey, I don't know how well I'll do in a state tournament, how we do. So if you have a kid that may be able to win the state championship or get in the top 4 of the state tournament as your 2 best players playing one doubles, that's maybe something we might shake up and do sometime.
Never say never, do you?
No, absolutely not. So,
okay, what about your 2 doubles team?
the 2 doubles team, which is Peyton Wines and Peyton Cloud. One's a junior, one's sophomore. They're 22 and 12, and to me, they're probably in between maybe the 5th and 8th, maybe 5th and 12th team in the state right now. Being able to play 2 doubles, I think that there's probably 4, maybe 5, 6 teams that are pretty good. Your top 4 are going to be real good, and I think that there's a bunch there that can place and do well at state tournaments. So, but these guys, sometimes they're world beaters. I mean, they do pretty well, and being at 2 doubles for 2 years, I mean, it's a step down from the 1 doubles, of course, but I like their chances of placing this year.
Well, all winning records, so you've got to be pleased about that.
Oh, absolutely. We've won probably 2/3 of our matches in each division, and the kids love going. I got great kids. I mean, I never have to worry about them. We won the academic state championship last year. That just tells you what they do in schoolwork. We got everybody back, but I know we got a couple B's in there, so I don't know whether we can repeat. But we'll have a shot. We'll be one of the top scholastic kids, and it's really nice when you have people come, hey, your kids are great. I said, yeah, man, this is a great world.
Well, I remember Alan Hibbler had a basketball team that did that, and then your team last year, and he told me he was more proud of that than anything else, and I would be surprised if you didn't concur those statements too.
Absolutely. In fact, we take kids out quite a bit during the spring. I try to play 2 tournaments a week. Sometimes you'll be lucky and it'll fall on a Saturday or something like that. But, if we're out 2 times a week, I really, really, really try to make sure that they can make up their classwork. So, and I know that most of the spring coaches do. Hey, coach, I need to go make up a quiz. Great, go do it and then come back later. Or, hey, I've got to go do this. Hey, great, go get your paper. I know I got a couple seniors. Actually, I got 3 seniors, and one of them had to turn in college paper one day. We'll go do it. So yeah, it's very important to me. It's very important to the kids, and like I say, when you get these kids that are dedicated like that, they're even easy to coach. I mean, they want to do well. They're great when you go on trips. You go to eat. You don't have to worry about them messing the place up or being rude. So. It's just the kind of kids we got, and we want to keep that.
A strong boys program. How's your junior high program, Coach?
Well, right now we're kind of short of kids. We do have Blake's younger brother Daniel's an 8th grader, and he's a really good player too. He's the same caliber Blake is. He'll probably be my 2 singles player next year. As a freshman, he's that good. He actually won the individual state championship at Union last week. He never lost a junior high match this year. So, he's solid. Now the rest of them are all kind of beginners. He was one of the 8th graders. I have 2 freshmen that I use on the junior high team, and both those 2 guys are beginners. But Malik Talib, which is Moody's brother, he's played with me for 3 years or so, really likes playing, and I think he'll spend a lot of time. The other 3, got 2 8th graders and a 7th grader playing with us, and they're pretty much beginners, but it's just like I was talking about the quality of kids we have. I've got varsity kids that help the younger kids too, along with me and Coach Shelton. So. Do want to throw Coach Shelton in there. He's done a great job for us since he's came to town, and does a great job of teaching. He's still young enough where he can get out there and play the kids and play with them. I can get out there and feed balls, but I can't actually physically play like they do now. But he does a great job for us also.
What's scheduled? Do you have any matches before the regional tournament?
Yes, we got Wednesday we play down at Southmore, which is at the tennis center, and then we go to Broken Arrow on Saturday, and then girls regionals will start on Monday, and then ours is the week after that. So we'll have kind of a dead week next week for boys.
We mentioned that Larry Williams, who I think this is Larry's first year to take over the girls program as the head coach. Larry was going to come in and do our TV show and was not feeling well, so we did want to mention, though, that those kids play hard. You see them a lot, although you're not as close to them. But you were telling me incredibly that he doesn't have any upperclassmen, no juniors, no seniors on the team.
You know, Coach Coates, Ken, he had the girls last year after Janie had moved during the course of the year, and Ken did a great job with them last year. And Ken's actually helping Larry, and Larry does our summer tennis out here in the park, and Larry does a great job. He's very, very good with the girls. He does a great job of teaching, and we have no juniors and seniors. We just have freshmen and sophomores, and most of those girls, with the exception of a couple, are pretty much beginners. And so Larry and Ken are doing a lot of teaching right now, and from day one to now, they've done an incredible job of getting those kids better. In fact, this past tournament we actually had kids win consolation medals, which at the first of the year they were struggling to get to be able to play for one. So the strides that they've made have been really good. He's got some good young kids in the junior high. He's got 3 or 4 7th graders that are playing that are going to help. I think we actually have 6th graders that are going to be playing with us next year. So. In town, and hopefully, maybe people will see this show. Hopefully, they'll get their kids out, and we'd love to have them out. So,
well, absolutely, and people got to realize these spring sports, when you're competing with the Edmond schools and the large Tulsa area schools, Broken Arrow, Owasso, Jinx, it's hard to compete when you've got very few numbers. And they've got competition probably 4 or 5 deep just for every spot on their roster.
Yeah, in fact, we were down at the Edmond tournament last week, and of course, it was loaded. We had all 3 Edmond teams and Union, and you can go on. But actually, Edmond North had a JV team in there also, and of course, we finished in 6th place, which in that particular tournament was really good. When you're top, you're better than half of the field in a 6A tournament like that, you've done well. And their JV team was like 8th or 9th. I mean, that just tells you how good kids they got. Just keep coming. Absolutely. So
loaded.
Yeah, and of course they're all in the lessons and the clubs and everything else, and our kids compete with that, and they do the best they can, and they do well.
Be safe in your travels over the next couple of weeks, and we look forward to seeing how you do at the regionals and state.
I appreciate that, Phil.
You bet.
Thank you.
Boys tennis and girls tennis, Brad Larimer, boys tennis coach, on our Coach's Corner feature.